everybody. Let me just double check this. Good. Well, this will be the last time I see the afternoon sunset from this living room. And I will say goodbye. And walk away. And I have described this throughout the whole history. What's true about my history. And what's true about me is going to follow me wherever I go. It's not supposed to work that way. Accept it. But I can, and I'm going to have to. Sure, it's most serious what happened here. Is it what I believe? It's what I've learned from other people. You've got it all in the reviews here. So this set up a foundation. See that's foundation that got set. I'd say 99% of that's completely irrelevant substance, where A is B, C, D, and E, but never back to A. And that's 500. And that's that. So about 500 pages, okay? No such thing as a correction. I never knew anything about immunity, and I've never heard that term before, and the honest truth is, what I gained as far as experience up north readapt me. Optimally, I'll readapt. It's a concept. Will it materialize? I hope. There's no reason why something like this should happen to someone with some very valuable experience. But this is the highest level of health and the professional management of this country, which would never happen in Lake County. Never. It would be, I've never experienced it in over 40 years. So I take a look at what I have for the few precious, I can share this with you, and I know I'm interesting, that I do know. And to me, because of my lifetime, this is very precious. Right there. It's a small suitcase. And this has a lot of connections to experience and memories. And that goes back to grandmother. It's the memories associated just with you know. Unfortunately, that will be, this was a biking trip I took in 1985, a helmet. Guess that will, I'm hoping that this will be donated. That was my Our Species pal and Flipper, which were their favorite toy. Heartworm, never got it. He passed away because of a vaccination reaction that gave him encephalitis. My mom gave this. She didn't even need to give me this. I've never really read it. I knew how to create success for whoever. That was given to me. It's thy creator, intended purpose to serve the ultimate purpose. Quite a bicyclist. Yeah, I actually used to lock it up. All my bike tools, I guess. Oh, that would be in the norm of sitting out in the curb. That's goes back. Not much more. Pogie's favorite toy, a lampshade from many connections of tens of thousands of memories. It means nothing to you, I know that. But thank you for thanks for taking your time while I cherish the connections will still always be there for me. I want them to be razor sharp. And that was when I first moved out here. Yeah, I guess there's not really much in there, just a bunch of receipts. These are worth a couple of $100. I definitely want to go and get the, let me do this again here. I just did this review before, but the sun would have been a bad image. This phone is not especially good in that respect. So I will share with you where I am right now, and I will say goodbye. A very good landlord, a very quiet neighborhood. So I walk out here like I have many times before. There's 2059 right over there. To me, it's very quiet. 2059. I can't hear it. I can barely hear the cars. I'm sure that there's a guy walking over here. I don't have to worry about that. Somebody took the back rims off there, though, and I don't think that's going to happen. The insurance is history, at least for the moment. I expect that to be temporary. There's going to be a lot of healing that needs to occur here. And I've walked many, many times in that empty lot there. And I'm going over to the sign again, and it still has the sun on it. So maybe I'll do this tomorrow morning or in a couple of minutes. Let me just walk down this alley here. This is the main feed, feeding 5,000 to 10,000 homes from the substation. And that tree is just waiting to fall on it again from the hurricane last year. We had uprooted it. Certainly that other tree there fell on it, and they replaced whatever holds those. That's quite a. That's feeding 5,000 to 10,000 homes. They got here real quick when it's that. And these are huckleberries, soft wood, but the huckleberry is no comparison to the soil. That just is incredible. And the soil is has to be better. It's all gravel. The tree's uproot. Unheard of. That was a perfectly good tree. And I guess this one didn't come down yet, but it's well on the way. And so I walked my dog many times between here and down there, over close to that. About I remember that. I want to remember that forever. And this tree is will be down by the next hurricane. We're past the season. I'm going to try to come back to this sign here. I walked my dog many, many times down here. And now back there is uninhabited land over there. That's uninhabited land. And that's where I buried him. Encephalitis from a vaccination. Whatever happened, all classic signs of distemper. I'm sure that was a reaction to the vaccination. And so he is buried back there. I walked him many, many times when I got out here in 2003 and 2004. And so he is there to rest, and I will never see it where he was, at least until one day if we are reunited, if that's true. And so back here is all undeveloped land, and it's there's 2059 over here. And just showing back here real quick, if there's ever a tornado out here, a perfect tornado shelter, like a 3-foot pipe that runs underneath the street here. And you could crawl back in that cement pipe, no matter how much water there is coming at this reservoir here. There's a little concern. You see the pipe right there? You crawl back underneath the street here. You see some water back there. And I could go down there, but if there was ever a tornado, it's an ideal tornado shelter. It couldn't be better. That's a perfect tornado shelter. There was an F4 over there that hit, and if you crawl back in that pipe there about 10 feet in, no matter how much water, there's never any water. You're perfectly safe back there in that pipe right at the end of the street here if there's ever a tornado out here. Other than that, there's virtually, I don't think a tornado's ever hit out here. So I walked my dog right down there. And I walked my dog down there. There used to be a guy that lived in that unit over there. And so I walked my dog many, many times that way. And, of course, down this street here, I walked Pogey 2. That's what they named him. Really brought up well by the kids and the grandma who owned him from Waukegan. I got him, I think, 1996. A very short life. He should have lived a lot longer than that. So I walked him many, many times down here to the end of the street. There's that big house. And so good. I'm going to be able to get a picture of this sign again. Because I got to be able to contact the property owner. I walked Pogey a lot of times. Pretty cool tree. It's a pretty cool tree. Oh, my thumb was there. That's okay. There's no reason. I don't know what kind of tree that is. Boy, that close to the building. And so it's been a great neighborhood to live in. As quiet as can be. It's just outside considered professional, just southeast of here. Very quiet neighborhood. Okay, so I'm ready to take the information I need here in this sign. Ethel has been my property manager, and so I need this information right there. That's Ricky Whitworth Properties. Let me make sure I get that 205 area code. And then that's Ethel's phone number. This property manager over there. And we're very fortunate. It is very quiet. And then I guess he's a plumber, and he decides to manage their coverage on me. And so, like many times, I've walked down here thousands of times, and there's connections of memories all bundled up. I would choose not to lose. I would not like to lose them. I'd like to remember them. That house was vacant, God knows how many years, and so I will say goodbye. And I know it doesn't mean anything to you. I could just share it with you. I thank you for taking the time. And manager, her name's Ethel. She's very nice, very nice. She's always, she told me out of all the tenants she has, I'm one of the most quiet, and I build on curiosity, but not with what other people are doing. I know nothing about what other people are doing. That's just not my nature to utilize a curiosity that way. I'm very well adjusted in that way. And so, this is the security guard living over here. And I've always, at first, it was kind of, I remember that. I remember that the first time I met him. There's no reason to, and so I will say goodbye. And whatever will happen, will happen. And so I've come out here 3,000 times, 5,000 times, 3,000 to 5,000 times, each all bundled up by a memory. There's the Highway 2059, and she's been great as far as a property manager, I'll tell you. She doesn't want me to take her picture. There was a dog over there. And I guess Poggy got bit twice, but I really do believe it was the distemper reaction that really did it. And I will never know. I just know it was encephalitis, and it was a virus that it looked like he recovered, but he was weakened. And I don't think he lived 9 years, actually. It was very sad because I guess we formed bonds with that. So I may come out here one more time tomorrow morning, or I may not. And in this view is the south, northeast, northwest. There was someone named Nancy, I believe her name was. Very quiet. That she over there, she's been real good. I mean, really had a good, really very fortunate as far as very fortunate to be living in a neighborhood where I'll just take one more view of this. Yeah, beautiful tree. Whatever that ash. There was a fire that happened in that unit like 2-3 years ago. The firemen were trying to get in my unit. I didn't know that well. She said there's no reason for that. Put reinforcements on the door. I'll show you that. They couldn't get in. I don't know why they didn't just go for the window, but they were with a hat. They were pounding on that door. They damaged a very heavy, solid wood door. And they never were able to get in. I told them, stop, I'm awake. He said, get out of there. It never got in the attic, though. It never got in the attic. I have a feeling they accidentally left a candle or some mice, little tiny field mice. They're nothing. I don't even think they could get through the insulation. Whatever caused it, there was a fire in that unit. It did not spread through the attic. It never got into it. And so that is about it. Many memories. I don't have a picture of her, but she's photographed me impressed forever. It's like a movie. I'll be able to play it back like for a 10-15 second movie. I'll always remember Ethel. And I've had really good neighbors. Very fortunate. It's consistent with my background. I'm very fortunate in that respect. See, you don't even have to, all that time I was out here, I'm not even worried. And you can get 24 hours a day. See, when I got in here, I put these reinforcements here. See that reinforcement there? And see the deadlock? It never, it was never meeting up. You could have literally taken a screwdriver and pushed it back, but not anymore once it locks like that. But it's completely unnecessary. And as I mentioned, you could just walk away all day and come back and no one's going to bother anything. I'm not one big concern. That's from Deerfield. Hey, big deal. I'm not going back there for anything more than what's been true for over 40 years in Lake County and up and down the Chicagoland North Shore. It will be a continuation of basically, there's no way I'm going to have to go back to what's true about my background to realize a solid career again. It's obvious, 5 to 10 million. I just know I was seeking the most reasonable possible request from the highest level of wisdom. It led off after PhDs in vocational psychology, about 100 of them, and all the CEOs, and they wanted to give me a hand to create success and invaluable experience. Oh, if you're able to, I know myself very well that if I'm reincorporated in that, there's been a lot of harm and a huge bankruptcy. I'm completely financially wiped out. It didn't take very long, only about 4 years. $250,000 gone. I didn't take that to find out about immunity or corruption or malpractice. any of that. I've never heard of anything about its professional management of this country. It could have all been based in the healthiest context, and it's obviously way beyond any capacity to relate. I'm seeking some professional career counseling from the highest level of expertise, from whether it's U.S. Department of Labor, Education, Justice, or the education highest level of expertise, that wisdom. You cannot get it. One single phone call up north, and I've spoken to many, many people, and I'm extremely fortunate to gain that type of experience, and I don't even question up north it is not going to be predatory medical becoming a factor, or the most serious of psychological, which there is something related to that, but the basis is what's important. And everyone knows all about Lake Forest and the Chicagoland North Shore up there. And down here, I guess it is the most powerful special interests. It's non-existent. So I will obviously have to make the change and say goodbye and get myself out of a situation where, you know, this was such a reasonable request that could not have been more reasonable, and there's no reason for felonies and perjury and human studies professor. It's complete corruption. You'll find the justice and the most powerful special interests, but you won't find A equals A anymore. You're going to find B, C, and D. That's completely irrelevant. And I believe that something like this happens, that's called malpractice. Plain and simple. Why did it happen? Oh, they can say anything. Anything. And it's not the most gifted wanting to give back. It is just endless maneuvers. The thing you cannot change is what's true about the 40-year history that I have. That you cannot change. If I were to be reincorporated back after all this harm has occurred, I would readapt and reincorporate. That's going to take some work. It's going to take some serious work, and there's no guarantee that concept. I wouldn't believe that professional management in this country can destroy lives. And you don't have to do anything. It's 50-50. Ultimately, it falls on you. This is why I'm doing these videos here. I'm being thoroughly honest, and I always will be. Always. I will not use endless maneuvers or manipulative, ulterior, anything. Truth is not valued down here. It's based on political, and I have heard about court where there's no truth in any manner, where you would think the highest level of truth would be the essential. And instead, I guess, God only knows what the political environment is, but I can say these special interests are by far much more powerful than you or I. And so A becomes B, C, D, and E, but it's never A. That's well beyond the capacity. It is 100% corrupt. It is well beyond the capacity to seek the highest level of wisdom in some professional career counseling. Lake County, A equals A. And I know the truth always comes out. And I know what I'm going to expect up there. I am so sorry something like this could happen, but I don't know why I'm apologizing. Why? Because you would never believe that someone with the background and experience that I have could have something like this happen to them. And yet I'm going to be in an incorporated norm being viewed upon by a first impression of deviating from that. I would expect I'd be returning up there with quite a bit of success. And I cannot change. I cannot change. And I can. Sure I can. Of course I can. But as far as the incorporated norm down here, I cannot change that. You normally adapt and accept it. And in this case, I guess the norm is your personal belongings sit out on the curb, and you are financially completely destroyed. Because everything is almighty. And it is certainly a fully incorporated norm up north, and down here, that is surrendered to nothing more than a feeding farm of professional management. And I would like to, I'd like to look at those acts and bills over the decades, though, to find out how they become that powerful. That would never be tolerated in Lake County. Never. Never. So I guess felonies and perjury and barely bordering on the highest level of legal counsel is as close as it possibly can, where none of that is absolutely necessary in any manner. I cannot change where an environment happens where something like this is an absolute survival. I've seen all the help, and yet none of it is medical, but that's all it is. Is it psychological? None of it is. Oh, but it's absolutely the most serious, and if it doesn't exist, it's created. It's created. It's hard to believe that, isn't it? And so I am in a major medical hub with a tremendous amount of entrusted professional management for all the help, and absolutely none of it's help. You will not find them to create any success or anything. Only the most serious. I'm sorry. I think we'll take the psychologists and all the people I met in Lake Forest and the Chicagoland North Shore's wise counsel of what's true over 30 years of my life any day over very much predatory medical fraud, medical corruption, pharmaceutical corruption, God only knows. And it seems to, so I will say goodbye. I will not be able to change where this kind of criminal activity is incorporated as a norm. I wouldn't believe I'm saying what I'm saying. 99% of that's completely irrelevant to have anything to do with the absolutely most reasonable request from the highest level of wisdom. It's totally corrupt. I didn't know anything about it. What's true about me should follow me wherever I go. And it's most unhealthy. I'm taking it as I've been very seriously injured here. I'd like to know if I injured myself, but I don't think I did. Not knowingly. I was naive. 5 million is a huge population base. It's unheard of. And I wouldn't believe it if somebody said it to me, or anything I've mentioned and shared with you. I wouldn't believe it. Well, come down here and do exactly the same thing. And I didn't know this when I initially came down here. It took a little time to understand this incorporated norm. There's no comparison between the two. One is of the highest level of honesty and integrity in the healthiest context, so there's corrections. And out here, non-existent. It's the most serious form. It's a routinely incorporated as a norm. Thank you.